All right, how are we doing? Session's okay so far? Getting some knowledge? Figuring some stuff out? Good. Appreciate it. We are going to talk right now in this session. We're going to talk about plate work, plate umpires, things of that nature. We are going to videotape this presentation, and we will make it available to all of you. So you don't have to be sticking your phones in my face for the next hour and 15 minutes, unless you have a desire to take pictures of me. That's completely up to you. But we will make this available for all of you, and you can share it, you can utilize it however you wish. So we talk about working as a plate umpire, and of course there immediately becomes Tonto Greenberg taking pictures with his cell phone. But that's okay. We talk about working the plate. I want you to, first of all, we talk about the slot. Demos, please. No cost is so great, we brought in professionals. We talk about the slot position. The slot position for an umpire is that area. We want you working in the slot. It is this area for right-handed batter, off the catcher's left shoulder to the batter. On the left side, it's off the catcher's right shoulder to the batter. This is the area we want you working in. How many of you work right over the catcher because that's the safest place to be? The catcher's in front of me. You don't have to lie. I know you do it. So let's explain something to you as far as what we call the foul ball zone danger area. Some of this will have to be edited out. If you work directly over the top, you have the possibility of having far more foul balls hit you. How many of you have heard a telecast where the announcer talks about the batter, oh, he just missed that one? What does that mean? That means that when he squared up to swing at the ball, that ball did not hit the sweet spot of the bat, but instead hit either the top of the bat and went back, or the bottom of the bat and went back, or maybe it was a fly ball. Just missed that one. Well, this is where you're standing when they just missed that one. If you work the slot, notice how you've alleviated all of those potential foul balls coming back towards you. You now are only going to get hit with potentially 33% of the balls being thrown, as opposed to this 66% that is now being alleviated. And if you see the way the batter is set up here, when is he vulnerable? He's vulnerable when that batter gets jammed and is taking that swing off of the handle. So that's why we want you working in the slot and not over top. Thank you. The other place we do not want you to work. The other place we do not want you to work, and a lot of you work there because you believe it's convenient, is off this side. We don't want you working there. The money pitch that you want to grab as a plate umpire is this one here. And believe it or not, by working in this position here, you've lost all perception of the zone. So that's why we want to work in the slot area. We want you to work here in this area, the slot area. And we'll talk about what happens when the batter is way up and is not giving you that position, or when that catcher is way in while the batter is way up and is not giving you any place to work. We'll talk about that and hopefully correct that. So our job is to see the ball into the strike zone for a longer period of time. The longer we see a ball into the zone, the better chance there is that we're going to see more strikes. But I'd like you to take back with you this week to your local leagues and districts a different philosophy. How many of you have umpired a Little League game? So you know that the possibility during a Little League game is you're probably behind the plate, you're probably going to call, 275 pitches in the first inning. The goal is to see more strikes, but you have to think strikes. The worst possible game to umpire is ball, 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 and then somebody hits it into the field and nobody moves because their legs are numb. And you're not moving because your legs are numb. But here's the mindset I want you to take away from this week. Every pitch that's delivered by a pitcher is a strike until he proves to me or she proves to me it's a ball. Every pitch delivered by a pitcher is a strike until he or she proves to me that it's a ball, which is completely different from most of your mindset, which is, at some point in the game, oh Lord, please throw a strike. Because guess what? With that mindset, you're missing the close ones. You're not catching them because it's not good enough for you. Because the 14 before them weren't good enough for you. So a lot of this back here is a mindset. We talk about think strikes. Think strikes. Prove to me, pitcher, that ball was not a strike. I'll give you every strike that you can give me. Think strikes. Think strikes. So, how do we set up in a proper position to make sure that we see the ball into the strike zone? We teach heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Your first heel toe, and for the purpose of this week, every time you're in one of these drills with a catcher and a stool, for the purposes of this week, the back of the legs of the stool will be the back of the catcher's heel. We don't want you working like Ramey's sitting here. We don't want you working off of this because you're too close. We want you working. This will be the heels of the catcher for the purposes of this week. So this is the 3 heel toe position we're looking for. We've got heel toe batter. Then we are heel toe catcher. And then we are heel toe with our slot foot and our trail foot. Heel toe batter. Heel toe catcher. Heel toe umpire. Dennis is now in the slot. Dennis is now in the slot. He can see all of home plate. He is what we call biocular. He's seeing home plate with both eyes. If he sees all of it, good chance he's going to call more strikes. Some of you are setting yourselves up where you're peeking at certain areas of home plate. You're not seeing this corner. You're not seeing the back corner. You're getting blocked out by the catcher's glove. Your job is to set yourself up in a position to see all of home plate with both eyes. The next part of the plate position is his width. Notice how wide Dennis is. Why is Dennis this wide? Because again, you're going to do a lot of squatting. You're going to be calling a lot of pitches. If Dennis's feet are narrow together and he has to squat down in his position, it takes him a long time to get there. Puts a lot of strain on his neck, his lower back, and obviously his thighs. If he is wider, the same movement is right there. It's a lot less movement for him, a lot less strain on his neck, his low back, and his thighs. Step back. You're going to hear that phrase, step back. After every pitch, we want you stepping back in your games, in your drills. Step back and relax. Relax your mind, relax your eyes, relax your body. We see a lot of umpires get into their positioning as a plate umpire. And they, are those in your way?
No, I'm good.
Okay. And he gets in position, and he squats down, and he makes a call, and he stands up. And he squats down, and he makes a call, and he stands up. And he squats down, and he makes a call, and he stands up. Spot umpire. He has no chance to relax his legs. He has no chance to relax his eyes. And he has no chance to relax his mind, which is as important as any other thing you're going to relax as a plate umpire. So we've got two elements. We've got width. We've got squat. When you squat, the bottom of your mask is to be no lower than the top of the catcher's head. The bottom of your mask is to be no lower than the top of the catcher's helmet. If you want to work higher, that's okay, but we don't want you working lower. Why? Again, it's a function of seeing all of home plate. If Dennis works real low, like a lot of you do, he completely loses this half of home plate. And if I'm a pitcher, that's my money, isn't it? That's where I want to be all day long. I want Dennis to be able to see that. Step back. The last part of the positioning is the lean. So we have width, we have squat, and then we have lean. Notice it's very minimal. Many of you are all bent over with your lean, and you're killing your necks. You are absolutely killing your necks. And gee whiz, now look what he has to do to find the strike zone with his head. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That hurts. That hurts me just standing here with him. Glad I don't have to be there. So we want you just a small lean. It takes you into the pitch, and it sets you. A lot of what we do behind the plate and a lot of what we do as umpires in general is about balance. So if Dennis is squatting but not leaning, he doesn't have that balance. But when he squats and just gives me a little bit of lean, accentuated, come up and go straight down, and then a little bit of lean so they see it. He's into the pitch. He is solid. He has what we call a strong base. The toughest question is always the same one. Mark, what do I do with my hands? Let me explain something to you. I think you heard it last night. If you are going to work behind the plate, you're going to get hit. That's why we give you equipment. Well, we don't give it to you. You kind of buy it yourself. If you don't want to get hit as an umpire, don't go back there. You're going to get hit. Our job is to minimize the potential. So the first thing we do is throw you in the slot. So what do we do with our hands? The hand closest to the batter
Hit him with the stick. It's going to be a lot of editing.
The hand closest to the batter is known as the wrap hand. Why? We're geniuses, because we wrap it. We wrap it around our belt buckle, a very soft fist. We like to say you make a fist like you're holding a bird or an egg. For a bird, it's hard, a fist enough not to have it fly away, but not too hard where you're going to kill the bird. The reason that we don't make a tight fist is because if you do get hit here, we want some movement off of the back of the hand so you can absorb the pain but not break any bones in the hand. The challenge with the wrap is always the same, and that is fatigue. Because as you fatigue, you're going to start to what we call chicken wing. You're going to start to get lazy with this arm. So we want to make sure that that arm is tight to the side, wrapped in this position. The lock arm is very important. For those of you who potentially flinch and are having issues with flinching, and I know some of you have already come to me and said, hey Mark, I'm having some issues behind the plate flinching, can you help me? And my answer was yes, we will, we'll help you. Or fading. We all know what flinching is, correct? That's easy. Fading is when you take the pitch, you go with it. That ball's outside, that ball's a little inside. That's called fading. This lock arm is very important. Notice where it sits. Just above the knee, thumb inside the thigh. The elbow is locked, but it's not locked hard. Because again, if you take a ball off the arm, we want some of that play. I get phone calls every year. Mark, went to your clinic, spectacular clinic, fantastic clinic, incredible clinic. I'm working in the slot, Mark, and I keep getting hit on a right-handed batter, Mark. I keep getting hit on my wrap arm. I got hit the last game, I got hit 5 or 6 times on my wrap arm. What should I do? First of all, there's a very simple lesson there. If you keep getting hit in the same place, if you keep getting hit on your wrap hand, move your hand. Right? Sometimes the spot doesn't work for you at the level of play. So what I'm going to suggest to you is, we have no problem with you taking your hands and placing them behind your legs. All right. Fine, if that's how you want to work. We're going to ask you this week, as we talk to you, try it our way. Try it our way. The pitching machines, if we work pitching machines this week, probably won't hit you often. But we have no problem if you want to work like that. One challenge, fatigue. You'll start to get some of that. If you want to put your hands behind your back, fine. Yes. Just don't, turn around so you can see it. Just don't clasp your hands. Put them back there, double fisted or double open, squat and lean. The problem with this position is, and you noticed it happened right away with Dennis, he's leaning a lot more than he would normally lean. It's incredible for whatever biomechanical reason, right? You didn't even realize, right? All of a sudden, you have this tendency to be a ski jumper. So, what we'd like you to do, we'd like you to work the wrap and the lock. Okay? So, let's see if we've learned anything, if Dennis has learned anything. So we got our batter. Dennis is going to work right over the catcher. And he's going to squat and he's going to lean. Tell me when you lose this pitch.
Gone.
Gone. It's not yet past the point of home plate. Now get in the slot. Tell me when you lose this pitch. Same exact pitch.
I still see it. Almost to his elbow. Gone.
Think you call more strikes? You see in the pitch longer. It's just common. Makes common sense. It's common sense. The problem is some of you, and we've all seen it, you're losing it out here. So it looks like a strike the last time you see it, and that happens. Or that happens. And you're getting a lot of chirping, aren't you, from the stands and from the managers in the dugouts, because you're not seeing the pitch all the way into the zone. Probably one, if not the most important thing you're going to learn as a plate umpire is what we call tracking. Anytime you take a photograph with a moving camera, when you develop that photo, it's blurry. If you take that same photograph still, and then you develop it, that photo will be a lot clearer. Same thing as a plate umpire. If Dennis is a plate umpire and instead of tracking, he's just going to keep moving his head to see pitches, he's blurry. He's not seeing that pitch as clear as we would like him to. So what do? We track the ball with our eyes. We have our head in the zone, or binocular to home plate, and all Dennis is using is his eyes to see that pitch. It's all he's using. He's tracking the ball with his eyes, and he's tracking it all the way into the glove. And he's literally making the call to the glove. When he comes up, look where his eyes are. They're still tracking the ball. An advanced, exceptional umpire will continue to track that ball all the way back to the pitcher. But we want you tracking the ball with your eyes. With your eyes and into the glove. Okay. Questions about the slot. For a left-handed batter, everything is exactly the same, except it's different. Your slot foot, and you will always step in with your slot foot first, because your slot foot establishes your entire slot position. Slot foot now is your right foot off the heel. You're still heel toe here, and now your trail foot is your left foot and your heel toe here. The big difference here is now your wrap arm, again, is the arm closest to the batter. So in this situation, your wrap arm is going to be your right arm, and your lock arm is going to be your left. And that is a position for a left-handed batter, slot position umpire. This is the acceptable Little League plate position. Let me just finish the thought, we'll go to you. 2 years ago, we added the Jerry Davis modified plate position. And it looks like this. Right-handed batter. We are still going to be heel toe. And that's why it's modified, because Jerry doesn't work heel toe. But we are going to, for a lot of different reasons. We're still heel toe. But our positioning now is similar to the set position of a base umpire. Why does Jerry use this? When I asked him why he uses this position, his answer was very simple. Because my head is always in the same position. If I set up this way, no matter who the batter is, no matter where the batter is, my head is always in the same position. And if his head is in the same position, what else is in the same position? His eyes. His eyes. You're still tracking. You're still locked in. You're still stepping back in between pitches. This is an acceptable now Little League plate position as a plate umpire. Jerry Davis modified. Now in this situation, interestingly, where in the slot position, we are training our eyes here. In the Jerry Davis position, we're training our eyes here, because he can see this in the slot.
Could you verbalize where, because I can't see it, so you see here?
The outside, in the slot position, you're training your eyes on the outside corner of home plate. On the Jerry Davis, Jerry trains his eyes on the inside corner of home plate. He can still see all of home plate. The reason for that is because from this position, because he's squarer, he doesn't have to shift his head to the corner. So he's more based on the inside pitch. But he can see all of home plate, trust me. This position is great if you got catchers who catch the ball. I would suggest to you probably more upper division. Probably more upper division. Now I will tell you, I don't work the Jerry Davis. I work heel toe. And the reason for that is because, and it's more personal for me than anything else, for some reason I have a hard time opening up the gate from this position. So if a ball goes by and I have to open up the gate and drop step, for some reason when I'm hands on knee set like this and locked in, I tried it, I have a tougher time. It's probably more mental than anything else, but the mental guides my physical. So I work slot heel toe. But if you want to try that, we certainly will work with you. We used to, I get you. We used to teach, and I don't know if anybody's old enough in here or limber enough. We used to work the scissors. We don't work the scissors anymore. We don't teach it. It's a dangerous position. Most people are not using it properly. It's an incredible strain on the neck, incredible strain on the back. We do not teach working on the knee. There are some old-time umpires who work on the knee. We don't teach that either. These are the two positions we teach. All right. I'm going to go here first. Question.
You answered, Evan.
Excellent. We had one there. Yes, sir.
On the modified Jerry Davis, with your hands on your knees, what are you doing with your indicator then?
It's in your hand. Anybody got an indicator in a pocket? Fantastic. This man comes prepared. Great question. So first of all, let's work the heel toe slot. Let's throw the slot. What are you going to do with your indicator? Right there. All right? And if we're working the Jerry Davis, right there. Okay? Thank you, sir. Great question. Anybody else? Sir.
Javier,
Hi, Javier. How are you?
fine, thank you.
Good.
With the younger players, I've seen that they'll play a little further. Can you ask them to move up
You've been to this clinic before, haven't you?
to the week long? No, I haven't.
But you've been to one of my clinics.
Yes.
Of course. Nice segue, Javier. Thank you.
Just give him the dollar.
Just give him the buck? Yeah, just pay him off now. Okay, couple of challenges. Challenge number one. I'll get to you, Javier, but let me do it in a specific order. Challenge number one, you've seen this one. Crowd on the plate. We got that catcher who wants that ball in the inside corner. And here comes my umpire, and he's going to find the slot. Where is it?
Gone.
Oh, come on. It's right here. It's this little area right here. First of all, we want you to fight for the slot. If you can get it, get it.
What does that mean?
What that means. What do we mean by fight for a slot? Don't give up so fast. Maybe you correct your head height on this. Maybe you get just a little lower, so you're under the hands of the batter. And that opens up this area for you. It's funny, we have a lot of major league, minor league umpires that we have communication with. And I watched one recently and he said, hey, what'd you think? I said, wow, you were low. Why are you so low? And he said, because I'm working, they're teaching us now to work under the hands. Because that opens up this whole area. And in pro ball, that becomes the money strike. Not us in Little League. We want to be a little higher. But in this situation, what do we have to do? We've got to find that ability to get binocular. So what Dennis is going to do is he's going to work up and back. Now he's opened up this area here, and he's looking at the strike zone this way. And I will tell you, he's going to miss a pitch. He's going to miss this money pitch on the inside corner. Who's your best friend back here?
Catcher.
He's your man. And all Dennis has to do, when that catcher catches the ball that has caught the corner, and Dennis balls it, and he takes his shoulders and goes, oh. All Dennis has to do is come out to clean home plate, and all he has to say to him is, let me see it, catch. Let me see it. That's all he has to say. Every catcher who's worth their salt is now going to keep the glove there. Get in there, Doug. It's going to keep the glove there, but now move his body. He's going to take his body outside. He's going to take himself outside, and he's going to keep his glove there because he still wants to pitch there. But what has the catcher just done for him, for his umpire? He's just given him, the batter hasn't moved. That little movement by the catcher just developed the slot that Dennis needs. That's the communication you have with your catcher. The second one is Javier's question. I love the question. So we have this catcher who for some reason either is the only kid who fits the gear or missed the first practice, and now he's the catcher. And he no more wants to be back here than the man in the moon. We've seen this, right? If there wasn't a backstop, they'd be at the concession stand. And the catcher's back here, and here come the pitches. They're right over the plate, they bounce, and he catches. He calls a strike. You gotta be kidding me, Blue. Ball's bouncing. And here comes the next one. Over the plate, bounce, he catches. Really? Come on, Blue, you gotta be better than that. The ball's in the dirt. At some point, when this catcher stands up and goes to throw the ball back to the pitcher, he's gonna move up to do it. And there goes my umpire. And there goes my catcher. And we've just developed a much better position, haven't we? I've been doing this game a long time. I've done that, and I've never, ever yet had a catcher decide he's going to come back here. But what am I getting at? What am I getting at? What I'm getting at is you've got to work. You can't go out there and just mail it in. One of the things we talk about here at the region, especially for the umpires who come here who are lucky enough to work the tournament, from the minute you step on the field to the minute you step off the field, you are working. Mark, we can't get our games in. What time do they start? 4 o'clock. How many innings are you getting in? 2 before the sun goes down. I know what's happening. I know what's happening. In between innings, you're spending 7-8 minutes with your partner or talking to somebody or not getting the teams on the field. You got to work. From the minute that inning's over, here we go, guys, let's go. 1 minute, working, playing ball, here we go. You've got to control the entire atmosphere of the game. That's your job as a plate umpire. So if you're going to stand back here all day and you're going to have your catcher 15 feet behind home plate and you're going to continue to take sniper fire from the dugout on a pitch coming over the plate that's bouncing into the glove of the catcher, or worse than that is the one that the catcher misses that goes to the back. How do you call that a strike? If you want to take that abuse, knock yourselves out. What I'd rather do is show you some tricks of the trade here where all of a sudden we're teaching it the right way. The definition of a strike: any part of the ball passes through any part of the strike zone. Any part of the ball passes through any part of the strike zone. That is a strike. The strike zone is what? Always over home plate. It seems like a pretty basic tenet, but it's one we lose and forget. Why is that important? It's important for when Japan in the World Series is playing Mexico. Yeah, you wish it was that close. All right? And here's your catcher. Where do you want to be as an umpire? If the strike zone is always over home plate, where do you want to be? Do you want to be heel toe off of him? No. This is beautiful. Look at this. There's a lot of self-talk here. I will tell you. I do it.
I'm with you.
You're naked. You're naked. I will tell you, if you could get in my head during a game, you think it's bad verbally outward. You should see what goes on just between me and myself. I mean, the self-talk in this position is things like, I will do things like, stay locked, you're a goalie, stay locked, stay in. stay in. That's how I do it. If you're close enough, you might hear me. Because I know that, what's the tendency here? That'd be stupid not to move, but I can't. Because I got to stay in there. And if I'm going to catch one, I have that goalie mentality. It's coming off the pads. Coming off the pads. But this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be in this situation. What are some other things we want to talk about? So we want to talk about a catcher pulling pitches on you. We've seen that a lot. We got balls out of the strike zone and the catcher does this the whole game. And he does it the whole game. That's what he does. Put an end to it. He's showing you up. He's showing you up as in regards to your strike zone. It's a very simple discussion. Hey, catch, if it's not good enough for you, I'm certainly not calling it a strike.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you keep your glove in the zone, because if you're going to keep it out of the zone, you're making life really easy for me. I have a lot of conversation with my catchers. I don't get very chummy with them. If they're kids, before every catcher steps in, I shake his hand, introduce myself. Hey, have a great game. But at some point, this catcher is going to be a batter. Right? At some point, this catcher is going to be a batter. And I can't make teams think by my actions that when he steps up to bat, that he's going to get any difference. So I will have conversation, but most of the conversation that I have with a catcher relates to the game and how we're going to work together to make my job easier. Ultimately, if you know me for 10 minutes, you know that ultimately it's all about me. If you know me, you know that about me. But in this situation, it's the same thing. I want to work with this catcher, but why am I working with this catcher? I'm working with the catcher to make my life easier as an umpire. And what does my life easier as an umpire mean? The ability to see the ball in the strike zone deeper to be able to call more strikes. Yes, sir.
Sir, what about the ones when you get a good slot and you've got good position and right before the pitch delivered, catcher pops?
Catcher moves on you. Yeah, moves on you. Great question. So his question is, it's honey. You're at a clinic. This slot's so good. This slot is so good. You're like, Mark, be so proud of me. I wish he was here. You know. And here's my umpire, and he's in that position, and all of a sudden the catcher goes from his squat, and he goes in and he does that. And you miss it. And I'm going to have the same conversation with the catcher I had on that inside pitch. Hey, catch, probably a great pitch. You got to let me see it. If you communicate with a catcher and you tell him without telling him what you need, catchers they're going to work with you. Because at some point, they got to go back to their manager, all right, and talk to them. So great question. I'm still going to have that conversation. Yes?
I do a lot of minors. They don't even know what they're doing. Like, they might be moving and they don't even know why they're moving. So how are they going to know what they're blocking me from seeing?
Okay.
And also, what happens, minors again, catchers crowd the plate.
Okay.
Do you tell them, hey, move back, you don't want to cause some interference?
Let me answer your first question first, which was, I've got minor kids and they don't know what they're doing, so if I talk to them, they don't know what they're doing. Teach them.
So straight up.
Teach them within the parlance of what you can do as an umpire. Okay. You're not going to coach them, but instead of saying something like at the major level or above, I might say to the catcher, hey, let me see it. What you might say to the catcher is, I've got to see the ball in the strike zone, catch, okay? Let me see that ball go through the strike zone so I can call a strike for you. And they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. But at some point, there's going to be some dialogue, and maybe that's an opportunity for you to have a little teaching without coaching. Your next question is the hardest one that I answer. And darn you. Come back to this clinic. I kid, of course. So we get a batter. And we get a catcher who is right up there. Way up there. And we got an issue here, don't we? Potentially.
Safety.
Who is teaching the catcher to do this? Probably the manager. I will suggest to you a couple of things. Number one, don't coach. It's not your job. Not your job. Game manage, don't coach. There's a difference. I cannot, nor will I, tell this catcher to sit back. Because the minute I say to the catcher, move back, what am I hearing from the dugout? Hey, what are you talking to my catcher about? I told him to move back, it's not safe. He's fine right where he is, Mark. I want him there. Okay, so this is where he is. I'm hoping for a catcher interference where it doesn't injure the catcher. Because I'm going to send this guy where he needs to go. Shame on you, Mr. Manager. But I will tell you this as well. And maybe I get away with this a little more because of how long I've been doing it. And maybe because, again, why is the safety of the kid more important to me than it is to you, Mr. Manager? In between innings, I'm walking over to the manager. And I'm going to pull out my lineup card, very indiscreet. I'm going to walk over and I'm going to say, hey, Bill, and I want to make sure I know, if you leave with one of the things here, know your manager's names. Don't call him Skip. Don't call him Coach. Just like I don't want to be called Blue. All right, I have a name. They have names. There's a respect factor there. And I'm going to walk over and say, hey, Bill, I know what you want to do here, but you got a catcher who's going to, there's an issue here. Some of them, he's got to back, I would be more comfortable if you backed him off the plate a little bit. Some of the managers will say, most of them will say, I didn't even realize he was that close, Mark. Thanks, I appreciate it. And he'll face his catcher and say, hey, Billy, you're a little too close to home plate. Back up a little bit. I don't want you getting hurt. There is that guy or gal who's going to say, hey, Mark, I got it. I know how to manage my team. Okay. I might then go to the next level and say to the UIC, hey, just want to let you know the conversation I had with the Cub manager. Because I don't appreciate that as a safety issue. But what I can't do, as much as I know you want to, hey, Mark, we're all about safety in this program. I get it. But what I can't do is start to dictate how players play the game or where players stand. Because if I do it here, what if I have a first baseman who's playing too far in on what I believe is not a bunt situation? What do I do if a second baseman is directly in the baseline with a runner on first base and there's a potential that when he runs to second base, he may run over the second baseman? I just can't do it. I can't get there. Now, interesting, and you might have been in the class. A couple of years ago, we had a gentleman sitting here saying, Mark, not going to do it. It's not how I'm going to handle it. And he stands up and he says, Mark, I got to tell you, I was a catcher in Little League. I was too close. I took a bat off the arm and it broke my arm. I missed my whole season. I have no response for that. I have no response for that. And my response to that for him was, listen, when you walk up to the manager and you have that discussion, maybe that's part of the conversation. Hey, Bill, I got to let you know, I've been there, done that. All right? I broke my arm when I was 6 years old or 8 years old. I have no problem with that conversation. I have no problem with that. But I get it. But that's the hardest question I answer when it comes to, hey, Mark, where is the line between safety and coaching? Some of it I know. Some of it I wing. Some of it I don't want to say I let go, but I certainly have to handle it differently. So I hope that helps. Hope that helps. Anybody else? Sir?
Can I help out with that?
Absolutely.
So when I do minors, you're always getting hit. But when I have that situation where a catcher can get hit with a ball, with a bat, I will go and tell the manager, may I coach your catcher? If they say no, they're never going to say no. Not to me, at least. They're going to say, I'm just going to back up. And it's the same with them going too far back. Is that, may I coach your catcher?
Does it work for you?
It does.
Does it work for your league?
It does.
God bless you. No, I'm not being trite about it. If it works in your league, if it works for you, if it works for the managers and coaches, fantastic. See, maybe it's a little different for me because I don't have a local league. I show up and I umpire. And Jim in the dugout and Bob in the dugout have no idea who I am. And if I start doing what you can do in your local league, hey, who's this dude? Leave my kids alone. And I get it. Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to say, one other thing I do is just tell them the rule. If I say to the catcher, hey man, if the bat hits your glove, it's going to be on you. Then he goes, oh, okay, I'll back up. So I'm not telling him what to do, but I'm telling him the rule.
Does it work for you?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay.
We're an open book here, guys. What works, ladies, what works in your league works for you. I'm just giving you suggestions on maybe how to do it or how not to do it. But if you have that type of, see, you're in a different situation than I am. All of you are affiliated with leagues. You may travel to others, but you have a home league. And they know who you are. Hey, here comes Roberto. Cool, we got Roberto today. So you have a different relationship than I have where I show up because Dennis invited me out to work. In those situations, I'm usually on the basis because I want nothing to do back here. Those days are gone. We'll go here. Yes, sir.
So as the Little League official, aren't we ultimately responsible for safety?
I can get it, and it's a great comment. And I can get in that conversation with you, and I can talk to you about, yes, you're right, safety is priority, but I can also talk to you about the discussion of, I can't coach, it's not my role. It's a tough balance, and we could probably do a session on it, because I just gave you 3 scenarios you probably haven't even thought about. Why are you not asking the second baseman to back up when a runner's on first and potentially going to second? Why are you not asking the first baseman to back up on 2 strikes because he thinks it's 1 strike? So it runs into, you can get yourself involved in a lot of those discussions. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just suggesting that there is a huge gray area for me and in my role here for teaching between the ability to control safety and the responsibility of not coaching or managing. It's tough. I hear you. I'm with you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
This is kind of getting back to the less skilled catchers.
Sure.
So you're working a minors game and you kind of locked in, you got your strike zone kind of locked in, but one of the teams has got a really poorly skilled catcher and he's kind of flopping, you know, he's catching, things you're calling pretty consistently with one team, you're calling that outside corner, but like this guy's flopping or he's getting on his knees and like you're getting a bunch of chirping from the fans and the coaches and you're kind of going, well, I'm calling that a strike, but everybody's like complaining that, mainly because they see the catcher and they're looking from the stands.
No, and you make a great point because a big function of what we do as umpires is dictated by how clean he catches the ball, right? I mean, if that ball is nailed and he comes up and he doesn't move that glove, man, everybody sees that. He holds it there for you for a couple of seconds. Boom, you come up big and you say, cool, I got 1 today. You know, that's awesome. But if he's doing what you're doing and it's that same pitch, but he's fumbling with it and it hits his glove and it bounces on the ground and then you come up again, it's like, really? And I'm going to suggest to you a couple of things. Number 1, shut your ears off when you umpire behind the plate. How many of you have seen, what was the movie with Kevin Costner, the pitcher, For the Love of the Game? Awesome movie. But remember what he did? Clear the mechanism, and all of a sudden everything shuts off. Didn't hear the crowd, didn't hear anything. If you can get to that point as a plate umpire, man, you're starting to get to the advanced worlds. I'm at the point now where I hear it only to hope that I hear something I've never heard before. I'll get behind home plate and I'll hear something from the back and I'll make that call and I'll step up and step back and I'll go, good, that was good, that was good. And I might peek to see who it was. But you've got to clear your head. You can't allow the dugouts, the stands to dictate what you're doing. The other thing is, and a lot of you are working minor ball. Give me a batter, please. A lot of you, I will tell you, and I know I'm on video, so I can't deny it. My strike zone for minor ball is hittable pitches. I don't go bigger. Because if somebody asks me my strike zone, what I'm going to use, and I say, well, it's going to be a little bigger than the book, now I'm in trouble. Hey, manager, if you want to know my strike zone, make sure your kids are swinging the bat today. That's how I do it. Make sure your kids are swinging the bat today. I want hittable pitches. I'm looking for bat on ball today, is what I tell them. So my strike zone, yes, will be different, but I'm looking at the minor level. Man, if I'll tell you, if you're not calling this pitch a strike in minor A, you're working a lot of games alone. That's 1 ball. It's 1 ball off the plate. It's 1 ball off the plate.
2 balls off.
You want to go 2 balls off? I love it. Why? Because with a bat in his hand, he can get the meat part of the bat on that ball.
All day long.
I mean, this is an illegal length bat, but
He's out.
but he can get his bat on that ball. I'll tell you, this is a 4-hour game that maybe you get 4 innings. These are no fun for anybody. These kids want to hit. They don't want to walk. They want to hit the ball. There's only one way you can hit the ball in this game. You've got to swing the bat. You've got to swing the bat. So to your point, your lower level, get them, find them. Find them. Expand the zone, as we say. Expand the zone. But man, I don't want to work a 4-hour ball game. I don't want to work a 3-hour ball game anymore. But you've got to be consistent. But how are you consistent on that pitch? You're consistent on that pitch by being in the slot, by being able to see all of home plate. Now, some of you are smaller, and you have these gigantic catchers. And that becomes a problem because you're being blocked out. And in that situation, we talk about being off the heel of the batter. Sometimes we might want to be as far out as this, because this now gives us that slot to be able to see all of home plate. So, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe is a starting point that will hopefully get you in the slot. When we get in the cages, when we do soft toss, some of you will get adjusted to go a little deeper in the slot. Some of you will get adjusted to go deeper because your legs are so long that when you go wide, you end up almost over the catcher. I mean, if I have, stand up for me, please. Stand up for me, please. I mean, if I have Patrick behind the plate, and then I have Leslie behind the plate, I've got to put them in different positions to start. Because when Patrick goes wide, he's going to be behind the catcher. So I've got to move Patrick, thank you both. I've got to move Patrick deeper in the slot so when he does get wide, he's in the zone. So you've got to know what the ultimate game is. What's the goal? The goal for all of you, yes, absolutely, Dennis. The goal for all of you is to be in this area here so you can see all of home plate. If that means moving over a step, so be it. And your game may change. One day you've got Ramey catching, and the next day you got Art Valdez catching. You're going to have to adjust. Well, Mark told me I got to be heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. I ain't moving. Can't see a thing, but he's going to be real proud of me when I tell him. Matter of fact, I have the video in my pocket so I can show the managers so they get off my back. So you're going to adjust. You're going to adjust. So those are the things we talk about. Sir?
Is there any problem if you're comfortable with the Jerry Davis or the Stanford, the Raptor teaching here, if you switch throughout the game, or should you stay consistent with whatever you start with? Is that like a...
That's a fantastic question. The question is, can I work both during the game? Does it matter? And I'll tell you this, for me, I work heel toe for right-handed batters, and I work a box for left-handed batters. Why? Because when I came to this school and I was videotaped, I noticed that I was great here. I was square, everything was fine, and the minute I went to this side, my shoulders went like this. So I brought my trail foot up, parallel with my slot foot, and it evened out my shoulders. So I work a completely different position on each side. If you watch Laz Diaz will work Jerry Davis on one side, and he will work heel toe on the other side. This is what I care about. See strikes. See strikes. See strikes. Whatever it takes to see strikes. It's all we care about. But you have options, and that's great. And that's great. Oh,
Explain the box.
the box. The box is instead of being heel toe, I'm just here. I'm parallel. So when I set up with a right-handed batter, I usually go wider because I'm kind of squatting my legs. So I go out here, and I'll be here, and this will be my position for a right-handed batter. If I take, and I probably can't even do it, hopefully maybe you can see it. If I do the same thing on this side, I'll try. It's been a while. If I do the same thing on this side, are my shoulders square? No. Okay. Now are they square? So that was the change that I made because I was missing. I tell you, for probably 3-4 years, I struggled left-handed batter. I struggled with this pitch. Couldn't see it. Couldn't catch it. I was getting so much flack even at the level I was at. I wasn't catching that strike. And I couldn't understand why. And I went back to my video of the school and I noticed, oh, gee whiz. And unfortunately, when I walk off a field and I say to my partner, hey, how'd I look? Usually I get, hey, great job, Mark, you locked in again. And I go, that doesn't do anything for me. I need honesty. And I ended up having to correct myself, and that's why I went to the box on that side. It just squared my shoulders. So bottom line, see strikes. Bottom line, see strikes. See the ball into the strike zone longer. Any other questions?
Mark, how much conversation do you advocate with the catcher? If he's, how far out was that? Or, bring it in, half the ball, bring it in an inch or whatever. If the catcher is working with you, you work back with them, and how much?
I have a very simple, great question. How much conversation do I have with a catcher to lock in a strike zone or things like that? I have a very simple, and we're going to talk about game management in there, and I'm using one of my taglines now, and I've used it for years. I have a very simple line for respect and disrespect. If I don't let my wife talk to me like that, I'm not going to let you talk to me like that. That's how I figure out my line. So if we're having a conversation, if he's not showing me up, and they'll say to me things like, you know what good catchers do? They know. They'll say to you, little off. And I'll go, yeah, a little off. A little off. Boy, maybe I'll get a catch. Just, boy, that seemed good. Bring it in a little for me. I'll give it to you all day. You bring it in a little for me. Sometimes I get catches with an attitude. And my response to them is very simple. You wouldn't want that when you have a bat in your hand. Good for the goose is good for the gander, right? The managers, I put an end to it real quick. The managers, my stock line is, first of all, it's one of these. And my other line is something to the effect of, where was that pitch, Mark? Was it good enough for me? Just wasn't good enough for me. I usually do that here. I usually don't even, because the minute I do this, there's a sense that they have me, that I've now gone to that way. So I'll be right here. The pitch will come in. I'll stand up in my spot. I mean, my tendency is usually to put my hands on my hips before I'm getting ready, and I'll hear the chirp. Where was that, Mark? That looked good. Not good enough for me today. Usually puts an end to it. If it doesn't, and we'll talk about it. If it doesn't, then it's gonna, that's enough. Not today. Not going there today. All right, here we go. And the last time is the walkover in between innings that becomes the very easy discussion of, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep you in this game. You've got to help me, because I really don't need you here today. And back I go. And back I go. Question? Anything else? Great question, though. Great question. The catcher will dictate to me how much banter I have with them. I had a catcher a couple years ago. I tried, and nothing. Just nothing. Just nothing. Got up to bat the first time, big star player. You could just tell by the, just the way they handle himself. Ball on the corner. I called it a strike. He steps out of the box. He puts the bat on his shoulder, and he goes like this, and he goes, wow. And I stopped back here, and I went, cool, huh? I just put an end to it. It's not, that stuff doesn't work for me. And that's usually at the little kids are awesome. They're great. You want to have fun? You want to really get into the essence of umpiring? Go do a t-ball game. Watch the ball being hit to right field and 12 kids run after it. That's cool. That's cool. Yes, sir.
When you're doing a modified Jerry Davis, how tight should your hands be? And
yeah, great question.
How do you prevent the chicken wing?
Yeah.
Long game.
Yeah, the chicken wing is a function of just knowing the chicken wing is just a function of knowing your self-talk. You know, and knowing that, okay, lock my arms, lock my arms, lock my arms. As far as the positioning, it's probably no different than working on the bases. You know, you want to be in there, but you don't want to be, you don't want to be where you can't move anywhere. Because this position becomes a little tougher to move. Again, for me, it was the ability to do that and to drop step and the crossover, so I don't do it. But, again, upper level ball because catchers are going to catch the ball, which is what you're hoping for. A lot of guys, if you watch them on the major leagues, they start here, right, and they do this. They drop down. And a lot of that is the lock. You know, there's a mechanism that shows everybody and your own mind that you're ready to go, that this pitch is coming in and it's time to call it. And everybody has one, Some people it's the shoulder, it's that mechanism that lets everybody, including yourself, know, okay, here we go, I'm in, I'm down, boom, I'm locked, here we go, let's play ball. Whatever you use, and we'll talk about locks when we get in the zone, in the cages and watch you working. So we had, yeah.
Once you get hit on the elbow, the chicken wing won't be a problem.
Yeah, it's pretty self-policing. Yeah, pain is an amazing motivator.
Right.
Anybody else? Yes.
So what's the deal?
Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Really? Awesome. We did that on purpose. Anyway.
What about with the Major League umpires that go behind and they touch it?
Yeah, we don't touch. We don't touch. Phil Cuzzy. I love Phil Cuzzy. Phil Cuzzy's become let's go sideways. Phil Cuzzy just worked the World Series a couple of years ago. I had the honor of being invited to go and spend time with these guys. Cuzzy's awesome. He's as Jersey Italian as you can get, man. He's awesome. And Cuzzy gets in like this.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, hey. And I will tell you that most catchers in the pros, if you talk to them, they hate it. They hate it. But the last thing they're going to do is say to the plate umpire, hey, would you back off me, please? I'm getting a little crowded here. No, you keep calling strikes and you can kiss me on the cheek. I could care less. We don't touch.
No, I know that.
We don't touch in this program. Yeah, we don't touch. A lot of umpires, what you'll see them do is they'll use the hand only as a measure. You'll see a lot of guys, and I have no problem with it, you'll see a lot of guys who'll come in like this and they'll do something like that. So they have an arm usage to know how far they are away from the catcher. And I have no problem with that, but we don't touch.
No, yeah.
Yeah, we don't touch. But there are umpires who,
I think I saw that guy on TV and it was really odd.
Oh yeah, Cuzzy's awesome. Yeah. Anybody else? Oh, please don't make me stop early because these guys will never let me hear the end of it. I got 2 minutes to fill. Now, all kidding aside. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
When you're behind the plate and the manager keeps asking the catcher, where'd that miss? Where'd that miss? Do you put a stop to that at some point?
Yeah, great question from John. So you've all heard it. Hey, Billy, where was that?
Yeah, because he's not directly asking.
No, I get it. Well, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's showing you up. Very simple. Very simply way you handle that. Hey, Billy, don't answer him until you get in the dugout, okay? I'll take care of you for you. Don't worry about it, okay? I'll take care of it for you. But I don't want you answering him right now, okay? Wait till you get in the dugout, and then you can tell him all you want, okay? And if you need my help, let me know. It's amazing how many catchers come over to you, or the ones I love, is when that happens the first time, and the catcher says, way outside! Okay, you keep that up, okay? Put an end to it. Put an end to it. I do not want that conversation. Because sometimes the catcher's response is, I don't know, right over the plate. I don't know. And I can't allow that to happen. Because once he responds in that way, I guarantee you I'm going to have to walk over there and deal with it. And I'd rather not. Or he's going to come on the field. I have one goal in every game I work. Keep the adults off the field. Make sure everybody's safe, that the same number of healthy kids that came on the field leaves the field when it's over, and that I keep adults off the field. Because if adults are on the field, what is not happening? We're not playing ball. And that's why I'm there. That's why I'm there. I'm not there to listen to a Little League manager who thinks that he's going to be seen by some NCAA guy and get a job with the Baltimore Orioles. It's just not what I care about. But I have to have that conversation. I have to put it into it. Great question, John. Yes, sir.
What if you go with the same concept, but you got Johnny's dad right behind you?
Yeah, Johnny's dad doesn't exist.
But he's the one yelling to the coach, that was right over plate.
Johnny's dad doesn't exist.
Okay.
If it gets to the point where I feel it's becoming an issue, I find a board member on duty and say, hey, do me, and I will do it this way. Hey, do me a favor, Jim, Bo, do me a favor. Take care of him for me, please. I just don't have time for it, guys. Hey, I'm not going to walk over to Bo and say, hey, I'm getting a little hassle from behind the backstop. Would you take care of that for me? Bo may just show up after being over at the snack bar. And I'm going to do it to send a message. I'm going to do it to send a message. Hey, Bo, board member on duty, fantastic, great to see you. Do me a favor, move him for me, please. He's causing me some problems. Now, I have a rule, right? If I really want to, I have a rule. Put both teams in the dugout. And then I turn around and I do the same thing, and I love it. I've only done it once. This game will not continue until this gentleman leaves.
Wow.
I will tell you that's self-policing. Because if I'm rushing from work to watch my kid play ball, and I'm in my suit, and I've missed a meeting, or I'm losing time from work, and I got this yokel whose attitude and conduct has caused the game to not be played, watch how quick I walk over to that gentleman and say, hey, Doug, let's go to the parking lot, you and me. Let's have a little walk. Let's walk around, calm down a little. I'm not suggesting any violence. I'm just saying let's take him out of the equation for a couple minutes. Calm him down. Maybe say to him, hey, listen, I don't know about you, but I broke my behind to get here from work. Let's let kids play ball, all right? I'm going to have that conversation. How many of you don't have, and you can be honest with me, because I know it exists, how many of you don't have a board member on duty at every one of your games? Yeah, I know. No, I get it. First of all, you don't have enough people, number one. Or they're like, not me. I ain't putting that shirt on that everybody sees that I'm a board member with my board jacket, my board hat, my board shoes, my board pants that the league's paying for. I'm not going to do that.
But what about the board members that don't want to do it? They're there, but then they're like, well.
Then you need to find, and we're going to talk about that, then you need to find a different board member. I mean, ultimately, they're hanging you guys out to dry. You're all in this together. Where are you going to, a lot of you guys are talking about the things that cause problems. When do you take care of those problems? Now, when you select your managers and coaches. When you have your manager meeting, and the managers say, okay, gentleman's agreement, nobody's going to cause any problems this year. You know when the gentleman's agreement stops? First pitch. Code of conduct, in writing, signed by every manager, signed by every parent, signed by every player, signed by every umpire. It's amazing what happens when you can say to somebody, do you remember signing this? As opposed to, you remember the meeting we had where we agreed that we weren't going to have this problem, right? Use it to your advantage. It's really helpful. Yes, Susan?
What if you are the board member?
I'm sorry?
What if you are the board member and the umpire?
Yeah, you can't be. So Susan's question, great question. Susan has a great question. What if I am the board member and the umpire on the field? And the answer is you can't be. You can't be. You're either one or the other. And it happens all the time. And I can't tell you how many fields early in my career I've been to where the umpire takes off his mask and goes towards the manager in the dugout or towards a fan and says, hey, I'm the vice president of this league, and when I tell you to do something, this is what you do. And I'm sitting there going, no, you're not right now. You're the umpire. You need help somewhere else. So, great question. Happens all the time. Hey, what do we know? What do we know? What do we know? We know that 10% of the people are doing 90% of the work. Welcome to Little League. Huh?
We know the batteries in the camera are dying.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we know, so you've got to do it. All right. Luckily, I've kept my streak alive. I'm over time. I'm going to go one more, and then thank you for your time. Yes, sir.
I got a kid in the program. Sometimes I umpire behind the plate when he's pitching or he's playing. Do I disclose that?
You have a son.
I have a son.
Yeah. Yeah, just let him know.
League age 12. Do I need to disclose that at the plate meeting?
No. Your league should know. You should have already had that conversation. And all the managers should know.
But we're interleaguing sometimes.
All right, I'd keep it quiet. I wouldn't advise it. I would suggest to you, and we can talk about this offline, and I know it, I get it, probably the worst thing you could do, because what do you do? If it's got to go one way or the other against your son, what do? You do it against your son to show everybody else that you're fair no matter what happens. That's not fair to your son. My father managed me in Little League, and I'll end with this story because I'm getting a hassle from behind me. My father managed me from the age of 7 to the age of 11, and I was the best ball player in my Little League, by far. I was the best ball player in my Little League. I went on, played high school ball, played college ball, and if some kid needed to sit on that team as a sub, it was always me. And my father would apologize, and I got it. I understood it. I got it. My 12-year-old league, I went to my father and I said, listen, last year in the majors, I want to play for somebody else. And that was the greatest Little League season of my career because I played against my father. Yeah. He was on one team and I played for, I'll never forget his name, God rest his soul. I played for Howie Babbitts, was my manager. And I pitched against my father's team every time that I could. And I had the time of my life. So, but I get it. You just don't have the people. I get it. You just don't have the people. All right, hey. Thank you much. Awesome. Where are they going?
Break into the room.
Break into the room. Guys are awesome. Thank you very much.
District 8 umpires. District 8 umpires over here, please.
Thanks.
Can you keep your voice all week?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got one in me already.
That's why they do not allow me to umpire games.